Good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm like really late today. I'm still going to try to keep up with this whole one video a day. I just like to talk to you. So that, you know, makes me happy. I hope it makes somebody else happy somewhere. But today I wanted to talk about what is a hook in a story and how do you start a story. So, I and let's start with what is a story to begin with. And so if you just sit down and you write out something that happened to you, you write out an encounter that you had at the grocery store or something that you saw on the bus. That's, and I hope I can say this word right, an antidote. You know what I mean. Bleh. I can type, I can't speak. So, that's just like this little slice of life thing that, could be a journal entry. It's not a story. Classic stories in Western society are, you have a 3 act or a 5 act story. You start with a beginning, a middle, and the end, at the very least, right? Now, that is not the only way to do stories, and people like to read all kinds of things, and tastes change. So, but at the moment, if we're talking about a story, at least in, predominantly English language, that means that you have a beginning and you have a middle and you have an end, and it's written with the idea that you want other people to read it. It's not something that you're just writing for yourself, right? It's something that you're writing for someone else. Some of these rules don't always hold up so much in fan fiction, right? Because fan fiction is a slightly different category. But, so you're writing original, you want other people to read it. And your task as a writer is to make sure that they keep reading. The moment they stop reading, that's done. The story's over, at least for them. It's over. Because that's how it goes. So you have to make them want to keep reading. You can't have like really awkward sentences. You can't have typos will knock people out. If your character does something incredibly egregious, or unexpected, sometimes that can knock people out. And the very first place you've got to start is with your hook, right? Writing groups and everything is always talking about use a good hook, right? So, what is a good hook? A good hook is something that makes the reader want to know what happens next. So much so that when they get to where you misspelled something, they just don't even see it. They just go right over the top of it. And if the hook is good enough and you don't kick them out of the story later on, they'll make it all the way through to the end. So, now, different genres are going to have different hooks. Different writing styles are going to have different hooks. It's not like you can start every story with "it was a dark and stormy night" and that works. I mean, that can work. I have long been tempted to write a story that starts with "it was a dark and stormy night" and his hand pressed against the glass as he waited nervously for his boyfriend to return. Maybe that's a werewolf story. I don't know. You'd have to find out, right? But the point is, you have to have something in there that makes your reader believe in your character. They have to believe that that character is real and that whatever is coming is something that matters. Now, in general, you can do that by starting wide, or you can do that by starting narrow. If you start narrow, you start with something that overlaps your character's life and your reader's life, so that the reader is all like, oh yeah, I drink coffee out of coffee cups. I know what a warm coffee cup feels like in my hand. So you're triggering their brain to believe that they're having an experience. And then you move forward with that. So you start with the guy drinking out of his coffee cup, and the coffee needs more sugar, and God, he can't find the sugar because his boyfriend put it in some weird place and you don't know where it is. This is really annoying. He finally finds the sugar and he adds the sugar in. And no, I don't have COVID, but thank you for asking. And Then, then you build out to bigger things. You start going to things that maybe the reader doesn't have, a direct experience of. So we're going to go back to our werewolf story here, right? Human guy, stressed out, worried like mad. He's got his coffee cup in his hand. He's looking for the sugar, and he finally finds the sugar. And then we start realizing why he's nervous. He's waiting for his boyfriend to come home. And then we realize that his boyfriend is somehow odd. He's out in the forest in the middle of the night going on a run. But it's not, there's enough clues in there that it's not really just, he went jogging. There's something going on. And then we see the full moon, and we hear police sirens, and we start worrying, well, what's happening? He loves his boyfriend. We've established that the character is someone just like us. We're in harmony with the character, and we've felt love, and we've worried about our loved ones. And where's his loved one? What's happening? And then there's a knock on the door. That's a good hook, because at that point, your reader's going, oh my God, what's happening, right? So that's a narrow hook. If you're going to do a grand hook, those are a little harder to do. Grand hooks are much more likely to be in like a sci-fi story or a fantasy story. I don't write a lot of large hooks. Large hooks are usually for stories that are going to be where the world plays a huge amount of difference, right? Now, the guy with the coffee cup and the werewolf boyfriend, that could have been a medieval story, except for the sirens. It could have been some other loud sound from law enforcement. But it could have been medieval. It could have been Roman. It could have been contemporary. It could have been sci-fi. It could have been a completely fantasy world where we slowly get to know main character and he's a lizard guy, right? But it's that coffee cup that ties you to him, that gives you that commonality. Now, when you do a large hook, that's going to be more where the world is really important, where we're going to tell a story about a minority group that's been oppressed and how angry we are at the oppressors, and we start with this grand thing. And why that's a hook is because it also gets into us. It's all of us have had some kind of experience where we felt we were oppressed, where we felt we were the minority. And so you have to establish that there's a minority group, or there's something going on in this bigger world. You still have to tie it into something that the reader can identify with. And then once you start large, then you move in and you finalize that hook with your coffee cup or something small that the reader can completely identify with. They can imagine holding a coffee cup or a pen or waking up next to a lover. There has to be something that is so real to them that the story begins to be real. And then all you have to do is just not knock them out of it, which is so much easier said than done. In any case, thank you for being here, and thank you for listening to my story all the way through. And I hope that you have a great day, that you give me a like, and that you subscribe to me. And, let me know what other questions you have about writing or social justice or history or goodness knows anything, because I'll talk about anything. I really will. Have a good day.